For the generational narrative, I interviewed my mother, Regina France, and Barbara Hilton, my grandmother. They were both born in Johnson City by the same doctor. I was also born in Johnson City. My mother had a master's in education. My grandmother has a high school diploma. And right now I'm currently a junior at ETSU. I currently work with children in an aftercare program, and this summer will make 5 years. My mother is a teacher, and my grandmother is a volunteer genealogist. As a child, everything that kind of was, I learned to jingle when I was a child, and it's simple. It was eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a tiger by the toe if you hollers let him go. That was the, of course, child version that my mother taught me. In place of the tiger, my papa taught me to use the word nigger. Now, I learned around the age of 5, right before kindergarten, that was not a nice word. However, I didn't know it was anything to deal with race. I just knew it was a word. My mother's father attended a KKK meeting, and my grandmother's niece adopted 2 African American boys. He was nice to them, but didn't really have anything to do with them. Sometimes people will tell children one thing and model another. This goes to the whole KKK meeting thing. He would go to these meetings, but then he would act friendly to African Americans. My mom had a best friend. Her best friend for years was an African American female. Her mom accepted African Americans and other races. However, her father did not. He was strictly against it. Races do not mix. For my background, be friendly to everyone, and that's pretty much how it goes. Can I recall one of the first times that I encountered someone who was different than I? When I was in kindergarten, I met this girl. Her name was Rebecca, and me and her were really good friends. We had the longest hair in school, and first time I met her, I knew she was different, and I asked her where she was from. She was from Alaska, so she was from an Inuit background, so of course she looks kind of like an Indian. My mom first encounter was in 5th grade when she moved to a city school, and she met 3 African American females, and 2 of them actually became her best friends. And for my grandmother is when she attended a Johnson City school. She was friendly, but she didn't make any African American friends. Thinking back over my life, pretty much right now it's where Obama became president. Mom, for the Rodney King beating, that really upset her. She went into huge details, and it was pretty touching. And for Grammy, it was the death of Martin Luther King Jr. is really shocking to her. What about personal events that has influenced me and the way I think? I personally have been whistled at, barked at, and followed in stores. My mom is bilingual, just a touch though. She is a Spanish teacher for the most part. When she first started teaching, her school didn't accept Spanish families, and the first Spanish student was a 2nd grader. And my mom currently teaches 3rd grade, and she did then too. And the teacher refused to teach the child. She couldn't speak any Spanish, and my mom stepped up and helped the child through school. And since then, they've sent Spanish children, Spanish families to her, for language. For my grandmother, there is a African American male who attended her church and wasn't supported. He was basically kicked out. And years later, there was an Asian man who came to her church, and her church accepted him because his country didn't support his beliefs, which really isn't fair because the African American wanted to